Hey friends, several weeks ago I introduced you to the paddle, the canoe paddle that I have in my office that was gifted to me by Grace's session at the beginning of 2020 before we even knew there was a pandemic. We had been reading through Canoeing the Mountains by Todd Bolsinger and for the previous year during 2019, and the session said, hey, we should get Justin a paddle. And I love that paddle. I love that it's sitting here in my office all the time, because a lot of what I think about my role as a pastor comes back to boating. So often in churches, we get obsessed with our boat. And more importantly, we get obsessed with the activities we do on the boat. And my hope is that you realize that church is not about the boat, friends. And that boating, hopefully, is not even about the boat. Boating is about being on the waters, friends. That we are meant to sail. We are meant to be out in God's amazing creation. That God, from the very beginning, has always been on the waters. In fact, we find in Genesis chapter 1 that the Spirit of God is literally hovering over the face of the deep, on top of those waters, that the wind of God is blowing across those waters. And so my hope is that you realize that what church is about, it's about sailing, friends. It's about being out there on those waters, not about being in the boat, and certainly not about the activities you do on the boat. To use another metaphor, Jesus talks about how we have storehouses or barns, right? And that there's a giant harvest out there in the community, and we're going to need some barns for the harvest. The problem is so often in church that we get obsessed with building barns instead of realizing that barns are the place for the harvest. It's about harvesting. It's about the crop. It's about the cultivation. It's about all of the things that come with that. It's not about the barn. And just like that, sailing is not about the boat. It's about being out on the waters. And so, friends, my hope is that you begin to realize that Jesus is going to come walking to us on those waters. No matter what the waters are, whether they're calm or storm, Jesus comes walking on them and invites us, literally says, just like he did to Peter in the book of Matthew, come out onto the waters, join me out here. And friends, my hope is that you see my role as doing just that, that we pastors here are to help us get out on the water, to get out of the harbor, and ultimately out of the boat. Thanks, everyone.